Hello curl friends, wavy babes, and silver sisters. If you are new to my channel, my name is Carrie-Jessica and I'm so happy to have you. We talk about gray hair, we talk about wavy and curly hair care. Sometimes we just chit chat or talk about things I've spent too much money on. If those things sound like they're interesting to you, hit that subscribe button and hang out with me. In today's video, I will be sharing some pictures of some beautiful silver sisters. I just want you to know up front, I do have permission from each of them to share their content, and I will be linking their social media accounts in the description below if you are looking to find some silver inspiration. I strongly suggest Instagram for that. Facebook does have some really fun silver sister groups that are super supportive, but I will say on Instagram, you will find every age bracket, every ethnicity, every texture of hair. There is just such a huge plethora of women looking to support you on your silver hair grow out journey. Before I get started, I will let you know that I am in my 11th month of my gray hair grow out. Little 360 for you. I have actually enjoyed the gray hair grow out process, but I did find a support network before I even started. So today we're going to talk about some of the fears, some of the concerns that strike all of us almost before we start on this gray hair journey. I do want to say all of these I want to treat with care because they're valid. I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that because I am on the other side of these concerns that they are not concerns. This is a big decision to decide to embrace your gray hair. Anytime you're going against a society beauty standard, it does take a certain level of boldness, and sometimes we need encouragement and to talk through those concerns before we're ready to take the leap. Totally understand. I did it myself. In fact, some of the ladies that I'm going to be sharing with you are the exact same people that I reached out to when I was on the fence about if I was going to do this or not. Let's face it, the first one that all of us have to work through is, am I going to look old? Even those of us who, like me, I'm really content with my age. I've never been happier with the journey that it took me to get this far, and I've never been more excited about the plans I have for the future. But I'm not exactly in a race to look older. None of us are. There are so many factors that go into how old we look. Gray hair is one of the smallest things, in my opinion, that age someone. Considering most of us go gray in our 30s, if anything, I personally think dyeing your hair, especially when it's darker than it should be, ages you much quicker. There's something about gray hair that just brings a light to your face. Focusing on things like skincare, nutrition, fashion, experimenting with different colors, these are things that will keep us vibrant, keep us feeling confident. Do we really want to live our lives based on what other people think our age is? Well, I have found personally that when I look at my silver sisters, I see them as bright, I see them as youthful, I see them as vivacious and bold. Let's start attaching those positive phrases instead of old. Why look old when you can look bold? A big concern that gets brought up is not knowing what your gray hair is going to look like. If you think about it, the entire time that we've been coloring our hair, which for most of us is decades, you get to show a picture on your phone of a woman on Pinterest with a hair color that you really, really want, and your hairstylist most of the time has to tell us that it's not exactly achievable, and then we settle on one that we do like. But even when we're having that negotiation with our colorist, we're choosing the hair color that we want. Even if you're box dyeing, you're going through the aisle and picking the box that has the color that you're hoping it turns out as. We're used to having a level of control when it comes to the color of our hair. When you're embracing your natural hair, you have to let go of that control, and what grows in grows in. The best news with that is, I will say in my experience, I do not feel that many people have a natural hair color that does not complement them overall. Sometimes that box dye color is not working for you, or even that beautiful salon color might not be fooling anyone. One concern that came up in a lot of women that are embracing their wavy and curly hair was, how am I going to care for this? How am I going to care for this gray hair? Most of us who have any kind of pattern to our hair, we have been fighting our hair since probably about 6th grade. So when you finally reach a point where you are embracing your hair's natural pattern, for me, my hair is wavy, and no longer fighting it to try to make it curlier with heat tools or straightened with heat tools, the idea of learning how to care for yet another aspect of your hair can seem a little daunting. I will say, If you have blonde hair, you're probably already familiar with it. The only thing you're really going to have to learn is the color wheel. Your gray hair can turn yellow from things like heat tools, the sun, chlorine. Those things can have a tint to gray hair as well as blonde hair. Using purple shampoos, purple conditioners, or if you are in the grow out process and your dyed hair is having a brassy orange tone, you can use blue shampoos or blue conditioners. I do have a video where I used a blue conditioner. I personally use products with apple cider vinegar. I find that it keeps my gray super bright and shiny, and I really enjoy them. The brand I prefer is DP Hue. I use their apple cider vinegar scalp scrub, shampoo, conditioner, and deep conditioner. Absolutely love the brand. As far as it changing the texture of your hair or the pattern of your hair, sometimes gray hair can be more coarse than the rest of your hair. It could also come in curlier. But for a lot of people, it's exactly the same. So while you might have to learn a little bit more about a different texture of hair than you're used to, the odds are you might actually not have to do anything at all. My gray has the exact same wave pattern and consistency as the rest of my hair. The only change for me is that my hair has grown in thicker. I actually have more hair growing now than I ever have. Looking attractive came up often. We still want our partners to find us physically attractive. And if you're in the dating world, that adds a little bit of an extra pressure as well. And I totally understand that. I would say embrace this process. Find those other Silver Sisters. Once you see that there are so many attractive, vibrant women that are going through this process, it may help you ease your concerns about how you will look or be perceived when you go gray. The dreaded demarcation line. I personally don't mind the demarcation line. That line is what's right here, where you have your gray grow out and then all of a sudden your dyed hair starts. So this line in wavy hair or curly hair can be a little more blended. If you have straight hair, it might be a little bit more blunt. I say personally, learn to play with it. This is the time to learn how to braid. Braids and updos, even big messy buns, have so much depth when you start having that calico cat, for lack of a better phrase, toned hair. It just looks really appealing. So if you're having a hard time with your demarcation line or you're dreading the demarcation line, start getting ready for it because there are actually ways to make it look very beautiful. Some people had the concern of what if my silver hair isn't even? What if I don't have the same gray hair all over? Most of us don't. I am much brighter in the front. I am much darker in the back. Some women even have just patches of gray, which personally I think is the most stunning thing that you could possibly have. So while you might be dreading a certain look, there might be someone else hoping for it. So this is one of those times where you can learn to appreciate something that someone else has and still embrace what you do have. A concern that I had, having brown hair and a neutral skin tone, and I've always leaned towards warmer toned hair, was what if this gray hair washes me out? I have never had a cool toned hair color before. I've never, not even a cool toned brunette. I've never been blonde. I've not dabbled in that world at all whatsoever. So personally, I was very concerned that gray was going to wash me out. This is when you can start to play with your color palette. I personally am not much of a red lipstick kind of lady, but I will say that red lipstick and gray hair are such a combo. If you're like me and I have a neutral skin tone and I've leaned into warmer colors, now's a time where you can have that same neutral palette and lean a little bit into cooler colors. This can be a time for playing. You could play with your wardrobe, you could play with your makeup. There's a lot to experiment and try. And again, keeping these things fresh are also going to help you not look older. One that's a little more serious and I am handling with delicate hands because it does not impact me personally, I can only empathize with it, is not wanting to age yourself in your workplace. There are some professions where this could be much bigger of an issue than others. For me, I have not considered going to a colorist to try to go what I call gray in a day because it could be really damaging to your hair. But if you're concerned from a work standpoint, because let's face it, as most of us are in this crowd are women, we're already showing up, we're already getting paid less, we're already having to prove ourselves more than we should. The last thing you want to do is rapidly age yourself out of your position. We need to show up as ourselves with our own hair texture, with our own hair pattern, with our own hair color, and still be seen as professional. That is just something that we deserve. But if it is a struggle until we get to a place where that is more of a social norm, that is when I definitely would lean in towards visiting a color specialist. It's a little bit more of a process, but if your career could be impacted because of this demarcation line, very much could be perceived as unflattering phase of hair, that's when I definitely would seek that out. Another choice would be to go for a pixie. If you're going to be wanting to be perceived as vibrant and bold in the workplace, there's nothing better than a vibrant and bold hairstyle. The easiest one to solve is, what if I don't like it? You could do this for 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years. If you decide at any point that you don't care for it, you can color your hair. You're not going to be letting anyone down. You can do what you want. That is kind of the permission that we're giving ourselves in this silver hair community, because it is against the grain. Just like we have permission to embrace our gray, you have permission to color your hair. We need to be thinking of everything that we do as more of a women supporting women instead of women in competition with women. It is not the gray hair women against women who are coloring their hair. Neither one of us should have to defend our choices to each other. We should be supporting each other every step of every way, every day. Leave a comment. Let me know. What was your biggest hurdle, or what's the one that's still keeping you on the fence? I would love to know your biggest struggle with this gray hair process. That is it from me this week. I am so happy that you hung out with me. If you would like, check out those links in the description box below so that you can find these beautiful silver sisters. Also, you can find me on Instagram. I'm still on TikTok. It's not banned yet, so that's still a thing. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit like if you like this video. See you next time.